Today we're going to talk about hair growth. In particular, we're going to talk about science that exists that can help us to grow the hair on our head longer, thicker, fuller, and to stimulate hair growth where there may not be any. For the longest time, I have thought that Latisse, which is an eyelash growth serum, would be fantastic on the scalp, only it comes in a little tiny bottle and it seemed like obviously that's not cost effective. If you're not familiar with what Latisse is, it is an eyelash growth serum that was born out of a glaucoma medication. What they found 25 years ago was that these patients that were being treated for glaucoma with eye drops were ending up with these crazy long eyelashes. And out of that came Latisse. And essentially what is the main factor in Latisse that causes this is something called a prostaglandin. Now in our hair follicle, whether it's our eyelashes or our eyebrows or on our head, the hair follicles have prostaglandin receptors. There are lots of different prostaglandins, but one in particular is stimulating to hair growth. So when you apply a product that contains that prostaglandin to an area where there is hair, that prostaglandin will bind with the receptor in the hair follicle and stimulate that follicle to grow thicker, longer, and more melanated hair. So the hair will gain back some of its pigment, it will stay in the growth phase longer, and it will grow in thicker because the bulb is actually affected and becomes better. So that's pretty exciting to me that now it is not just Latisse for your eyelashes and your eyebrows, but we have serums on the market for our eyelashes that are over the counter that you don't have to go get a prescription for, etc. But even more exciting that some of those brands are now coming out with products meant for your scalp. The one that I picked up is by Revitalash. I was actually in the market to replace my eyelash and I decided I was going to go ahead and give Revitalash a shot. I checked the ingredient deck and sure enough, it has the prostaglandin analog in there that is stimulating to the follicle, which is super, super important. There are tons and tons of eyelash serums on the market, but only some of them actually contain this prostaglandin. Lots of them actually just contain conditioners, maybe biotin, they might have amino acids, and they might have, even peptides. And all of those things are good for the hair health and maybe even good and slightly stimulating to the eyelashes themselves. But none of them are going to do the work that a prostaglandin is actually going to do. I am going to list in the description box some of the links to the studies that I am sourcing, etc. But it's pretty solid science and has been for 20 plus years that these prostaglandins actually do stimulate hair growth. When they discovered this back in 1997, it was groundbreaking because, of course, minoxidil was groundbreaking, but now having a prostaglandin that could work was even more exciting. Now, if you happen to suffer from any kind of pattern baldness, I highly recommend talking to your doctor because there are versions of these stimulating prostaglandins that are prescription that actually combine with minoxidil and basically give hair growth a 1-2 punch. So I will list those in the description box as well. The one that I'm going to talk about today that I am currently using, and I will demonstrate that for you, is by Revitalash, and it does contain the prostaglandin analog. And the way that you want to use it is every single day you apply a very small amount to the area that you want to treat. Just like when I start using an eyelash growth serum that contains a prostaglandin, I know if I am consistent, my eyelashes will grow. I know it. It isn't even like, I hope this will work. It definitely will work. The key is the prostaglandin though. Now, some of you might be going, wait a second, you have eyelash extensions. Well, I will tell you, if you have eyelash extensions, you definitely want to be using an eyelash serum. Now, in that case, you maybe even could just use one with conditioners, etc. But eyelash extensions are extremely hard on your natural lashes, and using some kind of a lash serum is imperative so that you keep your lashes healthy, so you can keep getting the eyelash extensions if you want to, or if they come off or you decide to take them off, you're not completely bare of lashes. Really, really important. But if you don't want to get eyelash extensions, an eyelash growth serum can actually do wonders for your eyelashes and it just takes some consistency. The same is true for your scalp. Now with eyelash growth serums, after just a couple of months, maybe 3 months, you can go from everyday application to like every other day application or even every third day application and still retain the results and still get the future results. So I am assuming that the same will be true of the hair growth because those follicles are little organs that contain all of those prostaglandin receptors, and we're just giving that receptors something to attach to and stimulate that follicle. Okay, so the way that I am using this Revitalash foam, I'll show it to you. It's this one. The way that I'm using this, you guys, I've been using it for a little while, you can see, is it's a foam, and they do that on purpose so that it is easy to apply, but also so it doesn't just drip down your scalp. So it actually stays in the foam for a second and gives you time to manipulate the product versus it being just straight liquid and then dripping down your face. Now, you do not need a lot. The way that I use it is I actually part off and I do kind of small dots of foam or one little bit bigger dot, and then I mush it quickly and I repart off, and I do that all here. This is my area of concern, and it has been since that last video I did on hair loss. Now, I will tell you, those serums that I was testing before are all really great. The Neogenesis was definitely the best of the three, and it contains conditioned media. So it basically has growth factors essentially in there. And that is fantastic also for the scalp health, etc. But this is actually going to stimulate the follicle to grow longer, thicker, and stronger. Not only that, but it's going to stimulate the follicle in a way that you end up with a larger proportion of the hairs on your head, or at least in the treated area, being in the growth phase versus in the resting or the falling phase. So we have 3 phases in the hair cycle, and it's basically growth, rest, fall. So if you can keep those hairs in the growing phase longer, and you can keep more hairs in the growing phase longer, you're going to end up with more hair on your head, longer hair on your head, and we know that it makes that bulb stronger and produce a thicker hair. So your hair is going to be longer and stronger. It's really amazing if you ask me, and I'm so excited to have discovered this. I am very, very optimistic about it. Now, it's not inexpensive, so you really want to use it sparingly because there's just no reason to overuse it. So on day 1, I wash my hair and I use this on parted off wet hair. On day 2, I use this on dry hair. And in the demo, I'm using it on day 2 in dry hair. And you will see it easily looks like normal hair. I mean, it doesn't dry down to sticky, gummy, goopy, nothing. It is just fine. Normally, I would not be blow drying my hair right after. I would let the serum dry because I don't want to take the chance of the heat of the dryer diminishing the prostaglandin effects. But for sake of showing you how my hair looked, I went ahead and used my TG blow dryer just to show you that there's no residue left on my hair, etc. Now on day 3, I use it one more time on dry hair. As soon as it's completely dry, I go ahead and use dry shampoo just that day. And then I style my hair as normal. And then the following day I wash my hair again. So the only time I'm using dry shampoo right now is on day 3 after I put this in and let it dry. I'm trying to avoid the dry shampoo use as much as I can because I do think that dry shampoo might hinder the effects of this because it'll block this getting through to my scalp. So that's the routine that I'm doing with this. But like I said, I'm more than hopeful. I want to reiterate that there are prescription foams that contain a prostaglandin along with minoxidil, and some of them also have an ingredient that also helps to stop the miniaturization of the hair. So talk to your doctor. I will list those in the description box. Those are something that if you are in more of an advanced stage of any kind of alopecia, you maybe want to get something stronger than this that contains a cocktail of hair growth medications. Now, you might also be asking me why I would do this when I have hair extensions. Well, the entire reason I have hair extensions is because my hair is kind of iffy. So I'm one of those people that actually needs this more than the average Jane, because I would like my natural hair to be healthier. So if that is you, you may appreciate this also. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. I hope that this was helpful, and I will talk to you in my next skincare video. Take care.